Sponsored Wi-Fi in here, so you can all hop on the Wi-Fi network. It's Bing Pulse. Password is Bing Pulse, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Um, and first I'm going to introduce Chelsea Feldman, who's going to explain to you what we're going to be doing with Bing Pulse and with this panel, which I'm really excited for. I've interviewed a number of these panelists over the last 2 days. Very looking forward to hearing this. And then after that, we're going to turn it over to Heidi Oste, is that how you say it? Forbes Oste, to take it over from there. So.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chelsea, and I work at Microsoft with Bing Pulse.
We see a lot of moms use this to really stay in the moment and capture those really silly, candid, real photos of their children. I don't have kids, but I use it a lot just with my girlfriends when I'm out walking around. It really, I've experienced more things after the fact than I have before, because I'm able to look back at the photos. You can kind of watch as a time lapse, and it kind of takes you through this moment that you had. And a lot of times you get these photos that you would never have gotten before, or you didn't even notice it because you were so distracted. As she was saying, you know, as women, our minds are all over the place, and so it also allows you to kind of stay in that moment, and also just add some fun and excitement into your life by having that, enjoying that at a later time.
Thank you. I'm going to selfishly ask a question about mindfulness, because I think that there's something that it's a big topic right now, but it's also, I do strongly believe that wearables have the opportunity to create the space for us to be more mindful in our lives. And, you know, with music, it's probably more obvious than the others, but I think that with each of them, they provide opportunities for us to be, whether it's because we're not worrying about the one thing or because we're taking better care of ourselves. Is there anything that each of you could share in that space as to where you feel that what you're developing in the wearable space can help people be more mindful rather than distracted, which is where there's sort of, technology has a reputation for distraction rather than for actually creating better quality of life for
Sure,
us.
I can start giving you an example on the running. We were mentioning running before. Science has proven that we don't know how well we run. We don't look at how well we land on the ground, right? Mm-hmm. We just go for a run because we want to think about something else, and we want to distract ourselves from our daily chores, right? Everything that we have to do. Daniel Lieberman at Harvard mentions the fact that if we run wrong, we're subject to impact forces similar to being hit by a sledgehammer 1,000 times a mile, right? Over 400 pounds every single time we touch the ground, right? That's why 65 to 80% of all people that go running in this country get injured every single year. It's medieval, right? It's like, it's 2015, and every single time, every year, almost everybody gets injured by running. So think about actually not just listening to our favorite music, but having a virtual coach interrupting that music, providing us with feedback, behavioral feedback in real time when we do something wrong, like we're off cadence and we're heel striking. We're probably wearing also the wrong kind of shoes, right? I think that's where, you know, there is no trade-off between fashion, design, and functionality. We're not using, I think, all the user experience opportunities, and audio is definitely one of them. Most people these days run with their phones and they listen to music, right? So why not use that type of capability, not just for GPS tracking and speed tracking? Most of us, we're not going to qualify for the next Olympic Games, right? Let's face it. But, you know, getting a knee injury or an ankle injury, or I was talking to a woman athlete about 2 hours ago, and she had a very painful hip injury a stress injury by overtraining, right? I think we can do fantastic work if we can just weave and leverage textile sensing, combine it with flexible electronics and cloud services to serve the information in real time when people need it, instead of actually having a pretty dashboard, you know, just after the fact.
We're running out of time, so if we can just, everybody can give us sort of a quick last word. Appreciate that. Thanks.
Sure.
Raina?
So one of the childhood obesity is an epidemic, and one of the things that we built was an activity tracker in the device. But in addition to that, we have an online Paxi portal, which allows both parents and children to monitor the child's activity and integrate fun activities. So if they're only getting, say, 10,000 steps a day, how do we take it to the next level?
So Muse, by definition, is a mindfulness tool. It helps you understand your own brain activity when you're focused, when you're engaged, and helps you improve your own understanding of your mind.
I think beyond what I've already said, one thing that I would be interested to look at is using binaurals and immersive audio in order to accomplish some of those similar effects on brain and getting certain brainwave states and kind of inducing that by intention through using these types of things. That would be what I'd say.
I would just say, again, to reiterate, narrative really helps you capture those moments that matter and really lets you stay in the moment. I think, too, with the whole social media phenomenon that's, obviously going strong, is that this device lets you kind of not take the photo, post it right away, kind of stay out of that area unless you really engage with your family and friends. That is the most important part of life.
Much. I'm afraid we've run out of time, but I think
Should we wrap up with the poll results?
let's do that. And then I think hopefully everybody will stick around for a little bit. If people have questions, they can come up.
We have some
Oh, we do have time for questions.
Yeah.
Okay, I was looking at that timer, so I wasn't.
Back here. I'm your new moderator, by the way. You're,
For narrative, if you're wearing like a tank top or something not so high, how would you place it?
Yeah, so we actually just launched a new version this week, and the clip is going to be removable for version 2. So we're creating different accessories for users to be able to wear it for more different styles, clothing, height, and all of that. So we're still figuring that out right now, but all the accessories are going to be for wearability. So for right now, yeah, it's a little bit difficult to have it. Sometimes I put it on a hat if I'm wearing it, or I even put it on something stationary. So if I'm having friends over or something, I'll put it on my curtain or something like that, and it'll capture what's going on at that time. So yeah, it's one of the things we're really working on is the more versatile wearing options.
Again, to you, you would think that every 30 seconds would be enough picture grabs, but as a former photographer, you can miss a moment in seconds. So is there a manual trigger?
Yeah, so we also with version 2, we have enabled Bluetooth with it, so your phone is going to kind of act as a remote control to control the camera. So we're looking at different intervals for timing for that, and that's one thing that we're going to be able to adjust in the coming version.
How do you take a selfie with it?
You double tap it and take the photo.
There seems to be this trend to cover wearables for women in crystals and to make them pretty and to make them a piece of jewelry. Otherwise, women won't care about data. What do you think about that? Wouldn't they probably wear it even if it weren't a piece of jewelry but actually provided something useful enough to them?
Yeah, so we did extensive user testing in creating this device. And where we ended up in our user testing is not that the thing needed to be pink and covered in crystals. It needed to be comfortable. It needed to fit into your daily life. It needed to fit into your routine and fit on your head. The one sort of exception for women is we tried a number of different things, some that went all the way around the head. And they preferred a style like this because it didn't interfere with hair. So it didn't mess your hairstyle, but that was far more important than being blingy, that it had to be comfortable and fit into your life.
I think if I can add, it would be fantastic to actually work with the sports and apparel industry to actually design lines that are actually in line with any occasion, right? So think about not just in the sports and fitness area, but think about any type of occasion, right? So it would be cool to actually have a quantified experience of us all day long, regardless of what we do. So I think women are actually particularly interested in actually looking great or being comfortable with themselves, regardless of where they are and what they do. So I think it's more of a line. That's why I think there is an opportunity to work with the design industry and with the fashion industry, and it doesn't have to be crystal, right? In fact, most of us, most of the day, don't wear, fancy or very, very visible jewelry, right? So that's, I think, is a good question there.
To kind of elaborate on what you guys responded to our poll question with, you actually didn't really seem to incorporate fashion as your primary decision maker in whether to buy a wearable. Function and fitness were actually the two most important factors for the audience's combined response, so it really ties into what the panel's saying.
For Jennifer, so what is the age limit for kids to wear that wristband? Because at a certain point, they will understand that they're being tracked. If they want to do something naughty, they will reject the band, or maybe some of the other kids say, oh, that's cool, give it to me. Like,
Sure. So the device starts, to answer your first question, the device starts for 18 months, and it's in 3 sizes that go up to 12 years, based on average wrist diameter. However, and we understand your concern. So the device requires 2 hands to remove the device. So a child could not just remove their own device without the help of someone else. The second part of that is if the band is removed, the parent is alerted that the band has been removed and is aware of the child's GPS location. Our philosophy isn't, this is, big brother or mommy spying on you. This is helping mom let you be a kid and go out and have fun versus, being limited to a certain area.
and what about energy? How long does the battery last?
It's a 36-hour lithium-ion rechargeable battery.
Thank you.
What about safety? Every major cell phone study I've read is designed in a very flawed way that makes it look a lot safer than it is. For instance, the big Denmark study showed kids that are heavy users, they said any kid that makes or receives 1 phone call per week is a heavy user, as opposed to defining it by saying, here's the top 5% of heavy users. Are they correlated to tumors and such? So I'd be curious to hear what you think about safety of these devices, especially on kids.
So, we feel that our device actually helps kids stay safe, right? As far as the technology and whether it causes tumors and cancer, I cannot personally answer that question at this time. Our chief technology officer is in the back of the room, and I'm sure he'd be happy to entertain your question.
Well, thank you very much to my panelists. You guys are amazing, and I'm really excited to see where your products are evolving. I want to just share one quick story about Muse, if it's okay. We're using the Muse in our study, and this is just from a mom's perspective. I tested it on my kids. Okay, I told Ariel the story earlier, who are 12 and 14, and we discovered that they enjoyed it so much that they became competitive about it, and sort of became this competitive mindfulness in our household of who could be more focused. And so I think that there's opportunities through play to learn how to really adapt to these devices and to become better people, and to really introduce them into our lives in a way that improves everyone around us. So I look forward to seeing how they evolve, and thank you very much for sharing your time with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.